He's the General Manager of Emirates Racing Authority and the CEO of ARM Holding. Today, we're speaking with Mohammad Al Shehhi at Jebel Ali Racecourse. Our weekly chat starts now. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for being here and for having me on your show.
So we're at Jebel Ali Racecourse. It's a stunning place that I recommend everyone should visit. What does this place mean to you?
This is a very historical place, very authentic place. To me, this is the first racecourse that I've ever visited in my life, with all the passion and all the love that I have for horses. This was the first place I came to see horses racing. And, you know, I remember when I was a kid, I used to come here and I used to see Sheikh Mohammed, Sheikh Ahmed, and all the big owners, you know, competing here and starting the racing here. And to me, this is where, you know, all my horse racing experience started.
How old were you when you saw your first race?
I would say I was 8 or 9 when I came to Jebel Ali in 91.
You grew up in Zabil?
Yes. Grew up, was born there, and grew up there.
What did the neighborhood look like?
It was a small city. Dubai was a small city, and it was mainly, if you leave Dubai, if you leave, you know, where Burj Khalifa is today, there was a military camp, and that place called the defense roundabout. So when you reach the defense roundabout, it's like you're reaching the edge of the city. And then when you go to, there's a hotel called Chicago Beach, where Burj Al Arab is today. That's the end of the city. So reaching the defense roundabout where Burj Khalifa is today, it's like the end of the city. There's nothing after that except Chicago Beach, which was way further and far away in the city. So it was undeveloped. It was a small city. Everyone knows everyone. And as we grow, we saw it developing. And it's fascinating to see it and live it.
But growing up in Zabil, you interacted regularly with the royal family.
Well, they were in Zabil, so we used to see them when they were coming out, coming in, and I was privileged that my father worked for Sheikh Ahmed, so I used to, you know, as a kid, to see Sheikh Ahmed, see him as a father figure, and we always get, you know, inspired and fascinated by Sheikh Mohammed and Sheikh Ahmed when we see them as kids.
So this is Sheikh Ahmed's racecourse.
It is.
And you work and you manage, you're the CEO of ARM Holding, which is Sheikh Ahmed's investment company.
Yes.
So how did your relationship with him begin, and how much did he influence your love for horses and horse racing?
I think if we talk about horse racing, I think I owe everything I have in horse racing to Sheikh Ahmed, because since I was a kid, he started to get me books. He used to buy me the books and send them to me, and sometimes educate me as well on the different terms inside the books. You know, this is the soft ground, the fast ground, and things like that. And, you know, even as an owner, he supported me to become an owner, and he encouraged me to become an owner. And honestly, today, whatever I have in terms of knowledge, passion, and even owning horses, I owe all of that to him.
So when did you become an owner?
I became an owner in 2011. I started to own horses in England. And luckily, I'm alhamdulillah, a successful owner. I have 59 winners until now. Yeah.
It's mabruk, first of all, and it must be a very different experience watching a game when your horse is racing.
Exactly, and you know, I'll tell you, this 1 minute, especially if the horse is favorite and it's in a big race, that 1 minute of racing, you know, the amount of adrenaline that goes into your body is unbelievable, and that's the beauty of racing. That's what, you know, when you feel that, you understand how beautiful is this sport.
So you have adrenaline. I could say you have butterflies every time.
Of course. And regardless if the race is big or small or it's a maiden, you know, you will always have it.
So what's the secret ingredient to having a winning horse?
Well, I think there is no secret ingredient. You need to have the knowledge. You need to have the luck. You need to have the good horseman or connection that will look after your horse. And you need to pick the horse that will suit your needs. So basically, if you're looking at a 2-year-old or fast horse, you pick the right horse for you when you go and buy. But I think a combination of all of this makes you owning the right horse. You need a lot of luck.
A lot of luck is important. You need the right trainer.
The right trainer as well, yeah.
How do you choose a trainer?
Well, I think I choose the trainer based on my needs. So basically, when I buy horses to win specific kind of races, not the Derby, not the classics, because those are very hard to buy, and you need the well-bred horses for them. So when I buy, for example, the sprinters, the 2-year-olds, the milers maximum, I send them to trainers who would appreciate them and who are good in training those horses. And I usually pick small yards, up-and-coming trainers who would give so much, attention to these horses and have them at their best for the races.
So right now this season, how many horses do you have?
Here in Dubai, I don't own any. I own in England and in France. But in Dubai, I manage Sheikh Ahmed's stables, and we have around 70 horses in the stable.
70 horses?
Yeah.
All racing?
All racing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of butterflies to have.
Yes. And trust me, sometimes winning for Sheikh Ahmed means to me way more than winning for myself as an owner.
Did you think you would become so involved in the horse racing industry here in the UAE?
That was the dream. And honestly, that was a dream I always hoped and worked for. And today I am. Today I am involved in horse racing. I'm an owner of horses, and I'm privileged to be running even the racing interest of Sheikh Ahmed bin Rashid.
So 1 year ago, you were appointed by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed to be the general manager of ERA, which is a very big honor. Were you surprised?
I was honestly. It has always been a dream to be involved in horse racing and to be involved in organizing horse racing. And when I received the honor to be part of the organization, I was very thrilled, and I'm very, very excited, determined to achieve the goal and the vision of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, His Highness Sheikh Mansour, and His Highness Sheikh Rashid. And I was surprised, I was very thrilled, and I worked very hard, and I continue to work hard to achieve their vision.
A well-known figure in the horse racing community now as the general manager of Emirates Racing Authority. But where does this passion really start from? Is this something you saw around you as a child? Was your family involved in horse racing, or you just loved the animal? Where does the passion come from?
Well, I think it's a combination of loving the animal. And when during the 80s, when I was a kid, the kids, they get attached to a sport. So some get attached to football, basketball, Formula One. And to me, horse racing always fascinated me. And at the time, the Maktoum brothers were racing in England and France and Ireland. And, they were broadcasting that in Dubai. And I used to sit and watch and cheer for their horses. And that's what started my passion. And I started to, my brothers would go out, play football, basketball, and I would stay home, watch these horses racing. And when races started in UAE, and when I came to this place, I saw them and I interacted with them, and I started to love them even more. And that's where, my passion started to go into learning more about horses, about their pedigrees, about, what they stand for, what are the races. And from there, it all started.
When you grew up in Dubai, it looked very different.
Yeah.
Dubai transformed immensely, as did the horse racing industry. Did you think people would come from all over the world to Dubai to watch a mega race? And maybe paint the picture of what it was like when you grew up.
Well, I didn't think that will happen, honestly. Even for me, being a small kid, I didn't expect that we'd have the whole world coming to race here in Dubai. And when we started our racing in the early 90s, and I still remember, I think it was in 1995 in the summer, where Sheikh Mohammed went out and announced the Dubai World Cup. And he said, we would host the most expensive race in the desert, and we'd have the best horses coming from all over the world to come and compete. And in 96, we had the first Dubai World Cup. That was like a big dream for me as a kid, going to the races, seeing all these big trainers, big jockeys, top horses coming to Dubai and compete. And honestly, at the time, not only me, many, many people doubted it, but Sheikh Mohammed made it happen. And Dubai World Cup today is not only one of the most important races in the world, it is the race that most of the trainers, owners hope to win because of its prestige, prize money, and its position in the calendar of racing as well.
So now that you've been appointed general manager of ERA, you can't only root for Jebel Ali horses, you need to distribute yourself among all of the race courses.
Exactly, and I think it's very important that I am there in every race course, supporting the club, supporting the owners, the trainers, and supporting the sport. And I think since I took over, there were few different directions that we worked on. A direction is to make things easier for owners, easier for trainers to become owners and trainers, and even jockeys in United Arab Emirates, increase the number of horses, increase the number of participants in our races. And this is something I love to do. And I did this when I took over ARM, and now when I am in ERA, I love digital transformation. I like everything to be digital. I like to minimize any human interferences in the process. And today we're announcing, actually the press release going out today, our partnership with the Weatherbees to have a full digital transformation for Emirates Racing Authority, which will impact horses arriving into UAE all the way to the moment they race and the moment they retire, all their medical book. We'll introduce e-passports, many things that we'll do digitally. And I think this is something that the leadership here always encourages us to do, is to innovate, to go into smart solution. And this will be very key and important for the future of horse racing, because data is key. And if the stakeholders, the leadership receive the right data from these systems, they'd be making the right decisions for horse racing going forward.
So you're going to centralize really all the data that has to do with horses, both incoming and existing.
100%.
From the health to the racing, to the scores, to retirement.
100%. So the import-export of horses in the quarantine, and then horses at the stables, and then, me as an owner today, I can interface with that system, go and see how many horses I have in training, what are the entries, how much money I made, and then who are training for me. So it's like engaging even the owners, instead of them being only physically engaged when they go to the stables. They are digitally engaged. And likewise, the trainers and any other stakeholders in the business. And the medical record, I think this is very key. So every single horse that comes into UAE would have its own digital medical record. So at any certain point of time, we can tell this horse has took its vaccination, what medication have been given to him, and that's very important for the welfare of horses in United Arab Emirates.
Very interesting. I'm just thinking and very curious. So would this database be shared globally?
I think, the information is here for UAE. It will be available. Whatever we can share would be available for the international organization. I think looking at it from a global perspective, integration is very key.
Yeah.
If we can integrate, for example, let's speak about the Asian Federation, the Asian Federation countries into it, then you would have information about any single horse in Asia. Imagine having that. Imagine the power of that, and how many horses get imported and exported from a certain country, and then that would only ease the transport of horses between countries and the competition between each country when it comes to horses.
So we've discussed your passion for horses, your role within the horse racing industry in the UAE, but this isn't even your day job. You day-to-day manage the investment company Aram Holding of His Highness Sheikh Ahmed, and the first thing that comes to mind for me is real estate, but when I look at the different social media posts, I see sustainability, I see you empowering youth, I see a lot of art being tied in to ARM. So how do they all tie in together?
When I was honored to take over ARM Holding in 2019, ARM Holding had many companies. Most of them were real estate companies, and I restructured the whole business. And myself, along with the management team, we decided to select few different segments where we'll invest and have some investment in. And these segments were sustainability, food security, fintech, technology, and health tech as well. And we started to deploy some investment in these different 5 sectors. And we created 2 funds, a fund to support entrepreneurs, basically college students with great ideas to make humanity a better place. And we already supported 2 of those projects. And these projects can be from any country, any university. If it's a good idea, we believe the idea can make humanity a better place. I think this is something that we believe in ARM and we support. And I can, proudly say the first project we selected was a company out of France. It's called Spectrum. They created a paint which is help in reducing electricity by almost 15%, which again help in sustainability and help in making this world more sustainable. The second company called Violet is a young girl from New York who invented this system that sanitize makeup for ladies. And I think this again a very nice and handy product, and it was the time of the pandemic and sanitizing was big, and we thought this again a nice project that we support. And this year, I think next week is the exhibition. I would love to have you attending it and see all the different kids with different ideas and innovation. And honestly, I'm a great believer that creativity comes from the younger generation. And when you ask me about art and design, I was at the Dubai Government Summit a few years ago, and I can't remember who someone was talking, and he was saying the creative jobs are the jobs that AI won't take over in the next 10 to 15 years. So artificial intelligence cannot come up with creative people.
You were previously the CEO of D3.
Yeah.
So I see you taking your love for art and design with you. Whatever sector it is, you find a way to also support artists.
I think I really enjoyed that job, and that job gave me exposure to a lot of industries, because design is endless. Design can be architecture, can be cars, can be watches, can be fashion, can be music, can be food. And when I got to know all these industries, the creative industries, then I realized the importance of that industry. And I remember at the time when we were in D3, we were talking about exporting talent from United Arab Emirates to the rest of the world. And I see it happening. I see more and more designers who are based in Dubai, who are now designing a building outside, or opening a restaurant somewhere, or working on a music project in America or in London. And I'm so proud to be a small part of that chain.
You studied engineering.
I did, yes.
And then took a completely different track.
Yes, I think I did engineering because I was very good in mathematics, and I picked electrical engineering because of that. But when I came back, worked as an engineer for 3 months, and then I quite liked interacting more with people and doing business and presenting things. And I moved from the technical part into the business part, and I really enjoyed that movement. And I think this is where I find myself more, as a person who interact with people, and today, luckily, having people who can work together to achieve a certain vision.
Taking you back full circle, back to horse racing here at Jebel Ali, what should we, as audience, look out for this season?
That's it. I think Michael Costa, the new trainer for Sheikh Ahmed, I think is a new name, somebody who's young again, the boss supporting the young generation, and it's a continuation of what we do in ARM, etc. And it'll be an interesting year to see how Michael Costa will compete locally and hopefully regionally and potentially internationally. And I think the new changes that we had in Jebel Ali, Jebel Ali is all about bringing people together to enjoy the experience of racing. As I said to you just before the interview, it's like a park, and a park where you're watching the finest racehorses competing. So that's what I'm expecting from Jebel Ali, and hopefully I'd have you here.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for shedding light on Jebel Ali Racecourse, ARM, and the industry in general.
Thank you for being here. I was honored, privileged to be part of your program. Thank you very much for being here.